Hi Lee, yeah, I like to restart because of buffering nonsense. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up. So it's 3 o'clock in the UK, and mostly hello again. Um, but I hate. I'm autistic. I like concrete, firm, conclusive, definitive, neat and tidy conclusions. And when the buffering internet connection problems happen, it really aggravates me. So even though this will be an irritatingly short and messy way to wrap things up, I think it's better than me just going, "Oh, buffering happened, I'll go to bed then," because that would annoy me and would annoy other people maybe. Or maybe they just went, "Oh, that guy's internet needs to be sorted out. I'm going to bed." So here I am. And can you hear the guitar? Not that I'm going to perform an impromptu set of blisteringly good pop songs, but can you hear it? Because no sad endings. Jennifer, that's amazing. Yeah, indeed. I mean, that would be the end. That would be the title for Led Zeppelin 3. Just that. That'd be brilliant. No sad endings. What an album title. Brian's here. Hello. Can't hear the guitar. That's fine because it's terrible. But you can hear me. So doing that. I don't know how sound works. I didn't do well at science at school. I need to hold that bit up, not that bit up, because the sound comes from there. Get rid of that. You know, noise cancellation. Anyway, there are 8 of you here, so I left about 15 people. Well, not my fault. I was going to say my fault. Um, I don't know what happened. I don't know why there was a surge in internet. Well, actually, yeah, maybe people getting back from the pub. Yeah, I can kind of speculate why there might have been a surge in internet use at 20 past 11 in the UK. Let's not go there. Um, in my naivety, I just thought it was my house being rubbish. Don't know. It's probably people doing their thing. Oh well. I'm just gonna push objects around the table that you can't see to ameliorate my awkwardness. Yeah. A big chunk of unread chat history is lost, so now you're caught up. Thank you, Russell. That is both wounding and reassuring, which is it's quite a skill to be able to make me feel those two emotions at the same time. But yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to catch up, and like I said, there was a surge in the internet usage because of certain activities that are beyond my control. Um, so yeah, amputated, Lee said. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up soon. But although 25 past 11, I mean, arguably the night is young, and then in 35 minutes the day will be newborn, won't it? Because you know, it'll be a new day. So glass is full, half empty. I don't know. Trying to be witty and profound at the same time, falling flat on my face as usual. Mostly, I said Toto made me laugh by using mountain as the subject of comparison to another mountain. I had never analysed the lyrics to Africa by Toto until 2 hours ago when my daughter was revising it, and because I just remember the chorus like everyone else does. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Sorry about that. Um, everyone remembers the chorus. So I'd not even looked at the lyrics, and I was like, Kilimanjaro. And then I looked on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is meant to be like neutral, which of course nothing can be neutral because if it's written by human beings, it can't be neutral. Anyway, Wikipedia, that is the goal, like the BBC's goal, the pro-genocide BBC. Um, oh yeah, we're neutral. Wikipedia is meant to be neutral, and even within this neutral Wikipedia entry about Toto's song Africa, I could like almost hear the laughing because it's like, yeah, the Kilimanjaro, Serengeti perspective doesn't really work. Um, Not that I've ever been to Africa. Um, so yeah, I don't know if we've never even analysed the lyrics until tonight. I said Toto maybe not plays a man. Oh, sorry, got that one. Glass twice big, so needs indeed. Academic on the Friars is here. Nice to see you again. I might have missed you in the previous version of this live stream. Previous version, installment. What is it? Jenny's here. Just want to say hi. Well, hello. Why you had a minute? Jenny, I always seem to we're like sliding doors, or I don't know. That's not the right. The ships in the night. Um, yeah. Hello. I was going to say, looking forward to the next collab, but no pressure because that's up for you. That's up to you to decide. It's not for me to insist upon. Um, you were there for about a minute, but I don't know why it buffered. But I've already speculated on why it might have buffered. I think it's adults doing certain things late in the night in the UK. Let's put it this way: they're not doing their tax returns. Brian, just found your previous life before it crashed. Between lucid dreams. Is there a link between lucid dreams and being autistic? I've had many more so when I was younger. That's cool because I've had very few in adult years. Um, hmm, really interesting question though. Is there a link between lucid dreams and being autistic? I would love to know the answer to that question. Russell, I mentioned that it came to light harness every talking because of its use in TV ads for digital switch. Is that what Harry's being used for these days? Oh dear. Oh, what can I say? You know, if I wrote a cool song, I mean, it's not Harry Nilsson's song everybody's talking, but he, sorry, being autistic, info dumping him. Um, it's not his song, but he made the most popular version of it, and well, unless you count the Beautiful South version of Everybody's Talking. But yeah, I mean, has Imagine by John Lennon been used to sell carpets or milkshakes? Yeah, imagine that. Has it? I don't know. But in 2025, it's just like, yeah, probably. Yeah, any song. There's oh, what's that Labi Siffre song? Something inside so strong. I don't know why that came to my head, but I'm an ADHD and autistic at the same time, and I probably misspelled his name. I'm sorry about that. Something inside so strong. 1987. This beautiful song against apartheid. I bet that song's been used to sell condoms or something. Something inside so strong. Now that works. It works, really, doesn't it? On a very base level. And I will still keep harping on. I think that is the reason why I buffered in the previous installment of this vastly entertaining live stream, because people had inclinations. Condomify everything, yeah, indeed. I mean, I could just waste your time and just waste time before my own bedtime, just waffling on about capitalism and how it rinses everything of meaning, but that's not what you're here for. Mm, it's nice when there's only 10 people here because I can easily catch up on the chat. Um, he says before he starts going on about classical music and condoms. You know, girl band Eternal sang that song. What did they sing, Helen? Girl band Eternal. I know Eternal. What song? What? Everybody's talking. Sorry, the wine was fighting back then. Everybody, Eternal sang. Everybody's talking. Hmm. Lee, my wife remembers and describes all classical music by the advert. So, but it's understandable though, isn't it? If you hear a classical piece, I mean, there's the I'm showing my age here. There's before my time, before I was even born, the Hovis advert. If you're in the UK, there's an advert for bread. The brand is called Hovis, and it's just footage of it's a 30-second advert, I think, of a chap pushing, I don't know, a cart up a very steep street. And the piece is by, and he's forgotten, I think it's by Holst, but I might have made that up. I'm just going to Google it. This is dreadful. Dvorak, there we are. Dvorak, Symphony Number 9. Don't know where I got Holst from. Hovis Holst. People go, oh yeah, isn't that the bread advert? No, it's a deeply profound symphony by Dvorak. I can't even say it because I'm half drunk, I suppose. The New World Symphony, yeah. Dvorak. Yeah, well done. If that was not without Google, if that was without Googling, that's very impressive. And AI, because everyone loves AI, the Hovis advert music is the famous Largo from Antonin Dvorak, Symphony Number 9 from the New World. From the New World. This piece is often referred to as the Hovis bread theme. The advert that uses this music features a boy pushing a bicycle up a hill, showcasing the nostalgia and simplicity of bread delivery. So I'm using artificial intelligence to tell you guys about a nostalgic advert that references or uses a classical piece that's even more nostalgic than the advert is meant to convey. And some people wonder why I want to get off this bus. Something inside so strong. Oh, right. I didn't know that. Eternal Sang, something inside so strong. I'm going to look into that. Although, how can you compete with the original? It's just, oh, well, I've tried at least once to that song. British Airways, right, right, Brian, right. Roll up my sleeves there. Okay, so, um, have you heard? If you would have heard it in the UK. Well, I suppose the nature of air traffic is you might have heard the song anyway. If you're visiting the UK, why would you visit the UK? It's a pre-fascist nightmare. Anyway, let's move on from that. Um, Jess Glynn. I've forgotten because I'm too tired and distracted. Jet to hold my hand. Right. If you've heard the Jess, let me know if you've heard the Jess Glynn song "Hold My Hand." And for once in my life, let me reserve judgment or keep quiet about that song and let me know if you've heard. Let me know if you've heard of it and what you think about it. And I'm struggling to restrain myself from unleashing what I truly think about that song. So Brian, you're responsible for me putting that in. Good on you. Lucy, I grew up around professional classical musicians and played myself. Wow. Tell me more, Lucy. That's brilliant. I'm really jealous. I'm really, really jealous. Um, I think I missed out on music lessons because of me being autistic. Um, so in when I was 11 in 1993, early 1994, does that work? 11, 12. Um, I had this idea that I would play the drums, and my school was offering had a person prepared to teach people how to play the drums, and I was like, "Oh, right, brilliant." So I took the letter to my parents. So, but here's the letter that describes um, the costs and the timings and blah blah blah. And I never played the drums. I still can't play the drums 32 years later. And I think I misread the letter. I misread, not my parents. I misread the letter. I said to my parents, "Yeah, it's going to cost hundreds of pounds." This is early 90s, and I found out months or years later. So I was quoting the figure for the collective cost of all the music lessons in that entire year group. So I could have been the next John Bonham, or I was going to say Dave Grohl, but I won't say that. If I was the next Dave Grohl, I would have caused my live stream to buffer because I've been on a dodgy website. Anyway, niche joke. Um, yeah. So I missed out on the drums. Let's move on from that. Um, So yeah, professional. If you share. I'm just endlessly fascinated in music, but I can't understand a simple printed letter. A, a lack of awareness that exists to this day. Um, do you remember the Slightly Weird Guinness ad with Mambo music? I remember a Slightly Weird Guinness ad, not the Mambo music. Hmm. Have to educate me, Russell. Not yeah. Adverts were big in the 90s. Are they big these days? Well, YouTube videos are constantly interrupted by them, so I guess they are quite big. Um, I can, and for a lot of songs I've had, yeah, Google Jess Glynn and listen to that song. And as it was originally produced, that song is fine. It's it's a nice song, but when you've heard it 50 times in an airport, it's not so good. And when you've heard it as like a preamble to selling you perfume that you don't need because you're a miserable autistic middle-aged man, you don't like that song even more than you didn't like it 37 seconds ago. Um, it took me to find out what school eventually I went to Eric shop late and I'm to go Press Prado, that's the one. Oh Drazzle, that is a trip. Press Prado. Right, I'm autistic, I need to deep dive into this later. Oh wow, I remember that. I remember the title of the song. Can't remember the melody right now in this moment, but yeah. Oh, this is brilliant. I'm so glad that I resurrected the live stream just for that alone. But you guys being here, that was obviously the main reason. But yes, Press Prado, 1994. Love it. You ever tried to learn an instrument? How you can? Interview this. I would, thank you. I do regularly fantasize about, um, fantasize is a loaded term, isn't it? I daydream about, just spending hours making house music. And, Matthew, who was in the previous version installment of this live stream, he's emailed me. um, we got to know each other through one of these live streams, and he's told me about all these fascinating music production courses, like online music production courses. So if I would love to play the piano. That piano is my favorite instrument. Although I said I want to play the drums when I was 11. I played the guitar badly, played rhythm guitar, a little bit of classical music. But I'd really love to play the piano. But you know, I'm getting on. I'm getting old. We're all getting old. And if I had, if I wasn't working and I wasn't doing YouTube, um, I like to think that I would spend hours and hours making progressive house music. Just this really dreamy, euphoric, often lyric-less music that just makes you feel something else. Like classical music, really. Classical music with a 4/4 beat. That's what I wanna do. I wanna be, Mozart and David Guetta at the same time, because, I've got a massive ego. Otherwise, why would I be keeping you up at this time of night? It's you yeah, I completely amazing. Yeah. So, yeah, and I've just reread your comment, Russell. So, went to a record shop in Luton. I love the parochial reference to Luton. Hummed it to the guy, and he went, "Yeah, Perez Guagliani." Of course, you don't need to do that now, do you? You just go into Google and go like, done. But back in the day, you had to roll up your sleeves, hand over actual coinage to a bus driver, go into town, have an awkward conversation with another human being, and said, "I can't remember the name to this song. Can I hum it to you?" Right, yeah. That's Perez Prado by Guaglione. Back in the 90s, when everyone rode penny farthings into work and everything was in sepia, drums and piano are both strong basses. Indeed. Thing is, with a piece of software, you can just, I use FL Studios, the most. I'm tired. I will leave you to it very shortly. The most basic version of FL Studios, um, and it's quite good for someone like me who doesn't know what they're doing, because you've got such a limited range of beats and pianos, like keyboards, arrangements, you know, samples are really limited. FL Studios, really limited, but it's great, because rather than farting around with effects, although I still do that on the basic version, um, because it is so limited, unless you spend the money on like 90 quid or 100 quid on the upgrade to FL Studios. And I really would like to do GarageBand and what's the other one? Yeah, there's a guy, a really successful guy in America, Dayglow, who uses GarageBand. Bedroom pop. That's what I want to do. I want to do bedroom pop. Um, but yeah, FL Studios, the most basic version, it's so basic that you just have to focus on the melody, the things that are important. I find anyway. You get irritated. I get irritated by the lack of um, variation in the pianos that are available, the keyboards. I'm like, oh, well, I suppose I better just focus on the melody then. But if I had like the upgrade, I'd probably just spend a day just looking for the best keyboard sound, and I'd be like, oh God, I've lost a day. But that's what I want to do with my life. Just lose a day trying to find the right keyboard to recreate an advert soundtrack from the mid 90s, because that's the sort of thing that amuses me. And yeah, creativity, just having fun. That's what I like doing. We've all got our own version of fun, haven't we? Um, and you're still here. I'm going to leave you in peace shortly. 10 people, crikey. Um, you can get your phone to song recognize or sound recognize. That is a really interesting point. And I'm going to show off a bit now. So when I was in Corfu 2 years ago, um, I heard a song. I can't remember. This would be more impressive if I could remember the name of the song. I think it might have been a New Order song. Yeah, it was a remix of Blue Monday, I think. And it just went on and on and on forever, the preamble. And just from a hi-hat or something, like within 5 seconds of this track coming on, I was like, that's New Order, that's Blue Monday by New Order. My wife was like, how do you know that? It's not even started, it's not even got going yet. And like 3 minutes later, 4 minutes later, she's like, how did you know that? It's like, I don't know. But rather than just trying to guess, you on that same holiday, my daughter got a phone out and said, I've got this app. You just hold, I don't know if you need to hold the phone, but anyway, the phone can pick up on features of the song that you're listening to. It can immediately identify what that song is. I'm like, that is incredible and deeply depressing. Because don't you want to spend 10 minutes going, oh, I think isn't that part of the fun? Reminiscing, like wondering what song it might be. And then I suppose the flip side of that is you could be wandering for a quarter of a century going, "Oh, I wish I could remember that song that I heard in Corfu. If only I had an app that would immediately identify what that song was. That would have put me out of my misery." I don't know. Two schools of thought on that one. Um, so yes, academic on the phrase, you're correct. Music, I play pretty much all improv nowadays, some kind of hybrid of baroque, counterpoint, and jazz harmony. I'm impressed. I've not even heard a note. I'm just impressed by the description. So, wow. Started in FL when it was still Fruity Loops. Yeah, FL Fruity Loops. Yeah, I'm just absolutely clueless, but I think that's part of the fun. Part of the fun. Just love making music, but I can rarely justify setting aside the time. Um, although for my most recent YouTube video, which you might have seen, if you've not seen, why not? Um, it's a typical ADHD. I thought I'll write a song based on a slowed down version of track by C Rose. So I'm going to type in. Um, I'll write a full song based on a slowed down version of Funny by C Rose, and then I got bored. But it's pretty basic, really. But I already had an idea at that point to write a song about philosophy, and it was a sad song or aborted song. So I thought, oh well, won't go to waste. I'll just use that 30-second rip off of C Rose and put it into this very short and basic video about philosophy from an autistic point of view, and that's what I did. But if I wasn't working, I'd I'd do that sort of thing just 7 days a week. People are like, "Where's Neil? What's he doing?" Yeah, he's doing a YouTube video about autism myths, soundtracked by a Shaggy track slowed down by 500%. So it sounds like a shoegaze whale trapped in a cave. Like, that's what he's doing with his time. Yep, that's what he's doing with his time. Is he happy? Yeah, he's slowing down Shaggy to make him sound like a whale. That's what makes him happy. And I'm not joking. If that's all I had to do for a day, that's what would make me happy. Oh, Jennifer, night, Helen. Oh, Helen's gone. Another strange favourite of mine is the theme to Housewife's Choice, a radio program that ended the year for when I found out it was called Party Mood, but I'd never heard of it, Russell. But I'm here all night for this factual knowledge. How could knowledge be otherwise? Where's Friday? Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Party Mood. Jack Strakey, even? No. Um, don't need the help. We've got Neil pattern recognition. That's the thing. I think that's somewhat. So I'm going to top it myself. I don't mind having the pattern recognition in any context, but I think most of humanity really gets irritated by my pattern recognition. But not in pub quizzes. So I live 3 doors down from a pub, and I will never forget. Just, I think I was with my dad, who was visiting from Scotland. Yes, he was there. And that's why I went to the pub, because although I live really, really close to a pub, I very rarely go into the pub because pour wine, live stream, you know, autistic, peaceful, stay at home. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I go into the pub like once, maybe twice a year. And my dad was visiting, and I went to the pub with my dad, and there was the pub quiz, which happens every Sunday night or most Sunday nights. And it's a small pub, so I couldn't help but overhear this team being really bad at the pub quiz. And I literally gave him 10 answers. Just like, yeah, it's that. Yeah, it's that. No, no, no. The answer is this. No, 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 no. This. Yeah, you might want to put that down. And did they win? No, because they were too terrible for me to rescue them. But I think I elevated them from a 10th place to an 8th place. So yeah, random connections, pattern recognition can help in some cases. To an extent, it helps in my day job, but I won't bore you with that now because it's late and I'm going to go to bed and you're going to go to bed. Um, Mattie's here again. If you want some free sounds, you could look up Decent Sampler, which is free. Thank you, Matthew, again. Decent. Super, thank you. Helen, you will replay Neil, me. I think you might mean a song. I don't know. Who's even older to remember the comic strip present? It was one of the first things Channel put up and done 92. I was a teenager. Yeah, a bit before my time. I do. Comic strip present. Isn't that Mel Smith and Griff Rhys Jones and Rick Mayall? And am I barking at the wrong tree then? I don't know. Three since you could try vital. Wow. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Um, no, I can't go to bed. I just got. I'll be able to do my longest. Okay, well, I will. I will. Even though you said that, I will honestly have to leave you shortly because, well, for one thing, my daughter's upstairs and she'll be like, "Dad, I've got exams to try and pass, and you're waffling on in your middle-aged moment, and it's late." Um, so yeah, I can't go to bed. So I'm just catching up with the chat. So yeah, if the chat dries up, then I'll dry up, and then I'll have to round it up anyway. There we are. What was it? I was going to ask something then. Yes, and I was going to share a random observation because of pattern recognition. Um, so where I am, well, 6 miles north of where I am, there is a comedy festival inspired by Rick Mayall. There we are. And thinking out loud, it's quite surprising it's taken them this long to do it because Rick Mayall passed away, sadly, 2014. So the festival is happening in the town, Droitwich, in Worcestershire, where he grew up sometime. Um, Peter Richardson, Aid Emerson, Dawn French, Jennifer Saunders, Rebecca Train, yeah. So not Rick Mayall, although obviously Aid Emerson became comedic partner with Rick Mayall, so yeah, maybe there's an age difference there. Lucy, Waffling means talking. I seen that. Sorry, Waffling, Lucy. I forget where people are from. So waffling in the US means making a waffle, I guess. So I'm waffling now, talking about waffling and the different meanings of waffling. Yeah, Rick Mayall was in the comic strip. Well, if you're trying to remember if he was in the comic strip, I don't know. Five American Dorset. I don't know, Russell. Don't know. Waffling is changing your mind repeatedly, is it? Well, every day is a school day, and I did not know that. Is it? It can't be. I had Mark, who was in the first instalment of this random live stream. I used to work with Mark, and he asked me, what did he ask me about? Can't remember because I'm too tired. That's embarrassing. Something about waffling. Talk amongst yourselves. Ask me a question. God, I really ought to not do these brain hiccups anymore. What did he ask me about? Oh my word, I must be tired. I'll leave you to it shortly. Flip-flapping. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm still trying to desperately remember what I was 4 words into trying to articulate. Late night grooves here. Flip-flopping. Oh, I get you, right. Waffling, flip-flopping, right. Okay. Oh, what was Mark saying? Oh no, you're gonna annoy me. Oh, hang on. Got it on my phone. Bear with. Talk amongst yourself. Jeffrey, you live in California. Blimey. Um, it's exactly midnight in the UK, and I'm gonna go on my phone and what did Mark say? Bear with everyone. Da, da, da. No, this is not very entertaining, is it? Oh, this is massive anticlimax. Anyway, California, and so yeah, no people here. Let's shortly wrap this one up. So, where is everyone from? So, Russell, Hertfordshire. Um, we've got Jennifer from California, and I managed to weave in, or weave in, it's the wrong word, but Whip out. Sorry, I used the phrase whip out. That's a Rick Mail phrase, isn't it? Whip out. Um, my US Road Atlas. It's a massive beast of a book. I mean, that was my chat up line in my uni days. Oh, got me so far. Kalamazoo, Michigan. Michigan, cool. John Hughes country. Is that Illinois? Michigan, Illinois, Midwest. I know, I'm trying to sound clever. That's the 5 go mad. Okay, I'm going to go back to what you said originally. Hang on. Yeah, 5 go mad daughter. Thank you. I'm writing all these things down. Will I remember to look at them? I don't know. So I watched an interview with, I think it wasn't Terry Wogan, it wasn't Parkinson, it was someone else with Rick Mail, early 80s, mid 80s, and Rick Mail was just, I don't know, maybe he was very nervous, but he just seemed sort of effortlessly witty and just, it was poetry really, but it was spontaneous. So he can't have scripted it. He was just responding to the questions, and he was just so funny. I was very sad when he passed away, and I wasn't. To be fair, I wasn't that much of, wasn't a huge fan. I was obviously mindful of Bottom and um, Blackadder, um, but yeah, when he passed, I was like, oh, what? He had so much more to do. Yeah, so it's catch up. Late night group, 1 a.m. Frankfurt, Germany. Wow. Trying to think of the German for wow. I did put German in the description for the first installment of this live stream. What was it? What did it say? How are you doing? But I can't remember what I put because I can't speak German. I used a translator online. Um, Original home of Gibson's guitars. What's that one? Kalamazoo. Is that right? Kalamazoo. That sounds like somewhere in southeastern Australia. Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo. Ty says hello to you, half German. Yeah, that's what I was going for because I wasn't really thinking what I was doing. I just thought I'd do a live stream spontaneously, and here I am an hour and a quarter later. Brian's off. Yeah, Brian, I'm going to go shortly as well. Good to see you. Good to see you all. Lucy, you haven't heard that Rick Mail died? Yeah, died 11 years ago, but yeah. I was going to say better late than never, not better late than never that he passed, better late than never that you found out that he passed. Crikey. Wow is wow in German. It's one of those words that was exported everywhere. That's really interesting. Did the British export wow? So wow, rape, pillage, and Indian tea. Is that what the British exported? I don't know. Cricket, soccer, racism. I don't know. You can tell I love my country. It's not even a country, it's just a patchwork of kingdoms and angst. I don't know. Yes, and the loved ones, the young ones. I love the young ones. Why did I not think of that? Blackadder, Bottom, that's it. Completely forgot that Rick Mayall's in the young ones. And just the action's the sort of thing that Rick Mayall would have done, isn't it? Or he would have done in exaggerated fashion. Or maybe that's a Bottom thing, I don't know. I don't know. But you could do really slapstick like Buster Keaton, injuring yourself comedy, and then give the wordplay, silly poet stuff as well. And he did was it Rick Mayall did just like he did that really pervy look with the eyebrow and like the mouth. It's like a bit like Jim Carrey. It's like the I was going to say the British Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is the American Rick Mayall. Is that fair? This is the judgmental content that you're here for at this late hour. Yeah, you heard it here first, or not. So I'm scrubbing a coffee stain here. Yeah, Rick Mayall. No, Jim Carrey is the American Rick Mayall. Says random YouTuber. He was definitely before Jim Carrey, yeah. An autistic brain fact sorting is into gear. Jim Carrey was born in 1962 on the 17th of January, which is my birthday, the 17th of January. I was born on the 17th of January 1982. So Jim Carrey is precisely 20 years older than me by the day. I think I think Rick Mayall is late 50s, 55, 1955. I don't know. But anyway, imagine how many people they have made happy. He had a very plasticine face. Well, Jim Carrey and Rick Mayall. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I mean, Stuart Lee. I'm inevitably going to bring up Stuart Lee when I'm talking about comedy. Um, but Stuart Lee's got this. If you're not familiar with Stuart Lee, then you really ought to be familiar with it. Stuart Lee. Um, yeah, Jim Carrey's he's getting on. That's what like we all are. The relentless march of time holds no prisoners. We're all victims of the relentless march of time. Um, yeah, Stuart Lee. I was going to say, so late diagnosed autistic, very late. He was born in 1967. Which is not the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make is 1968. 1968. The point I want to make about Stuart Lee is that from the late 80s onwards, when he started his stand-up comedy career, it was very much about the narrative and um, the. I've noticed recently that my connection's unstable, and so I can't finish that point. I know I can finish that point. Um, I was a bit paranoid about buffering then. I'm going to wrap up shortly, not least because I think buffering might happen again. Um, Stuart Lee, I've found that in recent years has done more sort of physical comedy. Like not just savagely berating right-wing governments and you know coming up with non sequiturs and blah blah blah. He's doing a lot more physical comedy than he used to do, like when he started in the late 80s. But if you're a Stuart Lee expert, then let me know if I'm wrong. Makes me feel old when celebrities know surrender to old age. Yeah. I like that phrase, surrender. Uh, Okay, you've got me. I'm done. Put me in the casket. It's all the aches and pains, yeah. Yeah, it's the aches and pains, he says, sighing. 11 people, God, it was 8 people 3 minutes ago. Uh, yeah, I find that it gives you permission to sort of slow down, like the recognition that, things don't move as freely as they used to. Like, yeah, maybe I should just not do as many things as I used to do. But again, I'm being a hypocrite because I always want to be active. I always want to like do a live stream or, you know, harass my member of parliament about the genocide or write a poem or write a song or go for a run, feed my kids. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? That should be top of the list. Um, I always want to be doing stuff because I found particularly, I don't know if it's related to my late autism diagnosis, but I've noticed the last 2 years, 3 years, that I get very scared of being bored. Um, very scared. Like, I've got no purpose. Fuck this then. I'm done. That level of fear, you know? And it's not a good feeling. So to try and postpone that self-destructive thought process, so I keep busy. So sorry, I've gone from Rick Mail and plasticine face to dancing around the subject of suicide. But such is the nature of these live streams. There's 9 people here, so there's only 9 people I've traumatized. I don't know if 9 does that include me? 8 people? Sorry, trigger warning. I should have put that in. Anyway, I've never been what you would describe as motivated. But that's fair enough. I think, you're motivated to be here. That means a lot to me, if no one else. Um, you know, mot motivated to flick a light switch on, or motivated to make a cup of tea in England because we all drink tea. That's all we drink. Motivated to put one foot in front of the other. And then the next level is motivate to do a drawing or write a song, or I don't know, not even that, just send an email. They're all motivated, aren't we? Not that I'm suggesting you're not motivated, Moosey. I'm just saying, I every day I wake up and like, it's going to be a challenge today. Um, why am I motivated? Maybe that's another video. Motivation. Just don't know why I did that. Um, let's catch up on that chat. Since my diagnosis, I want to live more in the moment than fulfilling other people's signs and achieving at bedtimes. Yeah, good. Um, I'm trying to think of something. I'm doing that autistic thing and trying to think of something similar in my experience that I think would match with your experience. I think I should just appreciate your lovely and relatable comment. Yeah, good. Um, although I'm going to be slightly egotistical and relate it back to the Schopenhauer quote at the end of my most recent YouTube video, which essentially is what you've said very effectively, which with far fewer words, living in the moment. Unless my special interest, obviously, yeah. And I did think that a few hours ago, like this morning, it's like rather than do I think I'm going to do my next video on autistic inertia. But I'm not particularly enthused. It's quite ironic now. I'm not particularly enthused about that topic. I might just be writing my own skit for my next video. I don't really want to do a video about autistic inertia. If I do include this really bad dad joke, you guys, you 10 people, have to pretend that not to have seen it and go, "Oh, you're so witty, Neil." Oh, yeah, yeah, been it. Yeah, yeah, you're showing inertia, but oh, for fuck's sake. Um, yeah, motivated. Sorry, my back's gone. Yeah, special interests. I was going to do a video. I was thinking about doing a video about special interests. Um, but I think I'll do the autistic inertia one, not least because I've just thought of this amazingly witty skit to preface it with. Um, but I did read a comment about special interests today, and it was yet another reminder of how important special interests are to autistic people and how distinctive special interests are in terms of an autistic trait. And you know, I'm an, I'm an autistic person and you're a neurotypical person. And special interests is a big marker. Like, I am autistic. I know I'm autistic because my special interests aren't just like this cool, funky little hobby. They're like much more deep than that. Back off, you know. So yeah, unless it's my special interest, I'm with you there, Moosey. That's what I never seem to get bored now. There seems to be an infinite amount of interest I have to binge on YouTube. Yeah, and that's what's um that obviously that's true, and that's what's upset me. Uh, my I'm upset about my own thought process. Like, why am I so devastated about my lack of direction to the point where I have these really, really dark thoughts when everything is seemingly available at the click of a button? Like, I'm having this conversation with you guys now. But why am I so, when I'm not doing this, obviously, why am I thinking I could just I could just not be here, like, just not do anything. Why? Why? Because I'm in 2025 when everything's here. And by the way, if you're worried about me talking about these dark thoughts, then please try not to worry, because the very fact I'm doing this live stream is a good sign. And I'm trying to churn out a video every week, and my day job is relatively quiet, touched words, and I'm getting back into running and getting stuck into the politics, and it's a lot better than it was a year ago, 3 years ago. So I'm all good. I'm just thinking aloud, as is the nature of live streams, and um, occasionally I think I'm so bored and directionless. I don't know what to do next. And yet, as Russell said, it's like, YouTube. And I'm not trying to belittle what Russell said. I'm agreeing with what Russell said. I mean, Matthew um, highlighted, suggested some synth. What was it? I can't see it now. Can't read my writing. Samples, decent samples. And so music is my thing. Autism advocacy is my thing because I'm doing this live stream, and I've got a big head and an ego, and I'm hoping for some sort of appreciation through the internet. And joking aside, hoping to connect with fellow autistic people around the world. But so when I'm not doing the autism thing, I'm generally dreaming or writing about music. Um, and how many artists in the world have been autistic slash ADHD? That drive to create and make these connections and think about possibilities. And to bring in politics again, this is what drove Mark Fisher mad, because he saw, writing in one of my favorite books, he saw that the endless recycling of popular culture, the lack of innovation, was a parallel way of clamping down on political hope. Like, if you endlessly recycle popular culture and music, um, then the future is cancelled. That was one of his famous phrases. The future is cancelled. Um, but which things can't get any better. That this is it. That's it. So if you recycle what came before and you don't innovate, you don't create anything new in a cultural sense, in a musical sense, then how can you possibly believe that you might innovate in a political sense in terms of, you know, greater wealth distribution and freedom and blah blah blah. And if you can guess how I've leapt from Russell's point into what I've just been blathering on about, then you're a better person than me, because I've completely forgotten how I managed to leap from that to that. But such is the beauty of a live stream. You guys aren't physically in the same room as me to prod me literally and go, Neil, you're talking rubbish. Stop it. So, the beauty of so few people being here. This is a proper pub chat. 9 people, 11 people here. How'd that happen? I can just about keep tabs on the chat. So yeah, I think I'll give this out. It's supposed to be you just being pushing away to screw us. Yeah, nice one. Last week I was binging classic car videos. Cars I remember being common on the road when I was little. Yeah, why not? This week I'm binge researching EVs. Do it. I think Russell, you probably get on with my dad. He loves his cars, mechanics. He's an engineer, electrician, all the practical tasks that I can't do. I can write a limerick, a haiku. I can switch on a laptop and talk nonsense to people around the world, but I cannot build a building like my dad can, or I don't know, do a health and safety check on a power station. My dad's amazing. I know. Why ODD? I can't even tell myself what to do. My ODD. So I'm being really thick there, or tired. ODD. Obsessive destructive disorder? I know. But yes, I do get the point, if I've understood correctly, about telling myself what to do. I mean, I've got this list of things. My own list was so overwhelming to me that I thought, I can't do it. So I'm just going to do a live stream. And here I am at 25 past midnight in the UK. So my demand avoidance is not about other people in my life saying, you must do. It's about me saying to myself, well, you must do. And yet I don't do it. And I have read about this, so I know I'm not going crazy. I know this is and something related to being autistic. But even though I've read about this and I'm reading that comment there, I'm still like, this is mad. I've written my own list. I'm not following it through. So demand avoidance and so on. I'm going to get rid of my thumbnail there. I still relapse into people pleasing as of, yeah, well, me every day, people pleasing. People pleasing is hard to shake when that's what you've been taught your whole life to get them to leave you alone. Yep, that's it. On the, even though I now know that I'm autistic, um, and I'm like, you don't need to people please as much because you're on a different wavelength to most of humanity. So you can't possibly meet the majority of humanity's expectations because you're autistic. So you're in a minority. You're trying to meet them at a level that you can't attain. And that's not to say that it's superior to us, by the way. I'm just saying it's a double empathy problem. It's not to say that one's better than the other. I'm just saying that there's a minority of autistic people, a majority of neurotypical people, hence the word typical. And I'm trying to, with my newfound knowledge in my 40s that I'm autistic, I'm trying to sort of pacify, placate, just keep the peace and people please. And I know now I'm like a bird watching myself, like, why are you people pleasing? You know you're in a different wavelength to the majority of humanity. Just do your thing and let them do their thing. But it's not as simple as that because I know that if I just do my thing, you know, 43 years of being autistic on this planet, if I just do my thing, then I'm going to get judged and possibly harmed. So I will people please to preserve my safety, as has been already articulated very well, usually as usual by academic omnifarious. Hey, no, you're doing super well. I was doing half what you achieved. Thank you so much. But I don't know what I'm achieving. I'm like I said, every day I wake up, I'm like, what's going to happen today? How much control do I have over my own day? I think that's the point. It's like, how much control do I have over my own day? Because I'm autistic, I want to know what's coming next. I want peace and quiet and predictability. I think my anxiety is related to what's going to happen over the next 12, 14 hours. And if I'm at peace and I've got control over what's going to happen, as much as I can, as much control as I can achieve, then I can achieve things, know, that I want to do, like YouTube or poems or songs or running or family, which is, again is disappointingly low down the list. I'm sorry, family. Or achieve things in the two jobs that I have. And talking of which, one of my jobs, my list is so overwhelming. The list that I made is so overwhelming, and that's my second job that I just parked it, and here I am taking up your time. 13 people here, crikey. You must be in the other sides of the world. Can't be in the UK. It's midnight. Unless Russell's still here. Maybe I've not made enough comments about electric cars. Sorry, Russell, but I don't know anything about electric cars. Um, Academic, unfair, music, poetry, visual arts, after all, just an alternative way of communicating meaning and feelings. Yes, I, yeah, of course. I mean, with poetry, definitely, it's about, definitely since I found out that I'm autistic, I have realised that poetry is very good at conveying feelings, which is not a revelation to anyone but me, because I used to use poetry as a way to tell jokes, and I still do. Um, so I get that with poetry about expressing feelings, but with music, it's a bit of a weird one because I just like the possibilities of music. And like I said, with Fruity Loops, FL Studios, um, it's just messing about and trying to combine sounds and Um, and if it sounds sad, it sounds sad. It's a bit of the other way round. Like I don't personally go on my laptop, FL Studios, and go, right, I'm gonna make a sad song. Although I did do that about 6 hours ago because I just found out this random A4 piece of paper that I typed a load of notes on, and I thought, oh, sad chords. Anyway, I put in these sad chords, and they weren't particularly sad. So, other than that, I generally just try to mess about with sounds. But yeah, I do get it. Music, um, emotions, um, Adrian Lenker still making me cry. Oh, and I've just written shameless plug, shameless plug indeed. Sufjan Stevens, who has just released a 10th anniversary edition of arguably one of the most emotional albums in music history. I mean, come on. I've well, as if you want to read my review, um, I've cried so much just listening to this guy's songs, and I've got no sort of vested interest in this album. It's just, I mean, other than the fact that my mate Tim, who's coming over from Australia, recommended Soft all those years ago. I've put the link in the chat. Other than the fact that Tim recommended the album, I've got no, what's the expression? Anyway, I'm not a cheerleader. I just heard this album and I was like, crikey, tears. That is music with emotion. Me, I'm just messing about on Fruity Loop Studios. Now and again, I pick up a guitar, which you can't hear anyway. And I'll just go E minor, D, C, G. Can't even play G chord because I'm too tired and drunk. And yeah, hope for the best. And then expect the worst. So let me catch up on the chat. Mark's back. Ooh, I have some stammer. Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock. I need to go to bed, but I will leave you shortly, as I keep saying. I swapped an engine in an old 1977 Mini that I had. Don't think I'd have the stamina to do it now, though. Just the thought of swapping an engine, just oh, yeah, I'm too tired to cry. I'd be like, if I was like, if it was 12 midday and I'd been awake for a few hours and I was off the red wine and I wasn't doing a live stream, and someone said to me, "Do you want to swap an engine?" I'd try harder than listening to Sufjan Stevens, Carrey and Lowell. Oh no. Um, that was about 1991 when I was in my early 20s. I'm so far behind the chat already, even though there's only 15 people. Only 15, massive amount of people at this time in the day. I rebuilt small engines a few times, not my thing there. Woodworking was my thing. I don't do it anymore. Yeah, my granddad built his own house and he built 3 boats. Can you imagine that? In Shetland. And I remember being in Shetland in the early 80s and going to his garage, and it must have been about 84, probably 85. And I remember one of my earliest memories going to his garage in Lerwick in Shetland, and the door comes up. I'm like, was gonna say, "That's a fucking boat." But I didn't say that because I was 3 years old. So, that's a flippity gibbet boat, Grandad. Where did that come from?" And, yeah, he made that boat. I can't tie my shoelaces. Yeah, autism is genetic, as we all know, but practical skills like building boats and houses and checking electrical pylons or whatever my dad does for a living, not transferable. Cheers, jeans. Woodworking was my thing that I don't do anymore. Yeah, I just wish I was practical. Sorry, you see my massive pasty face. Sorry about that. Change your mindset from being a demand. So I'm behind. Change your mindset from being demand to looking at how about yes. And I think academic on the fries once again for about the 59th time. You're absolutely bang on. And someone suggested that I do a video about um, autistic inertia, which, as I said, I think in the previous installment of this live stream, which was aborted because of technical difficulties, because in my view, adults were looking at things they shouldn't have been looking at. Naughty adults. I would never do that. Um, Huge internet surge where I am. 11:30 pub kick-out time. I wonder what people are doing. So I started buffering, and that's why I had to start this chapter of the randomness. Um, I forgot my train of thought again. Hang on. Yes. So pathological demand avoidance, autistic inertia. I think that's a really good point because about changing your mindset from it being a demand to something that you're helping someone else to do. That was something I was thinking about earlier because I've got my own list of demands to myself in my own diary, and I have to tell myself this isn't just for me, this is something that will help someone else. And if I convince myself that it's some sort of honorable activity, I'm more likely to complete the activity. But if it's just something, excuse me, that I just that's just on a list that I want to do, I won't do it. There has to be an extra motivation. And it's just every day I'm like, right, I've got to do a thing, but I need a really good reason to do the thing. And then I need a top up reason to do the thing. I don't think that's the usual way of thinking. I think most people in the world just do the thing, and here I am doing my thing on a live stream at 20 to midnight or 20 to 1 in the morning. Sanford, hello, Santa Curtis. Sorry if you've been there for 4 years. She told me that explained people, two people with autism and positive, which is mad to me, but means an awful lot. Good. Well, fair play. Yeah, my hands only have so much they can tolerate, and guitar gets that share, unfortunately. Yeah, well done, all guitarists, the people who can actually play guitar. Sorry if that's not the point you were making. Hang on, no, bear with me. Oh no, I've clicked on a triple bullet point. Sorry. Stick around, everyone. It'll get fun. Um, so, right. My assistant at work has a nephew who has been diagnosed as autistic. Yes, the classic autistic nephew, not to downplay the news that you've just shared, but yes. So often an autistic nephew, I found anyway. But bitterness or sarkiness aside, I hope your assistant at work's nephew has an amazing autistic life. They might even watch one of my videos, or Autistic AF's videos, or Orion Kelly, or Autistic Jenny, or Creative Autistic, and many, many others. Changing your mindset from it being a demand to the yes, we've already seen that because I'm behind in the chat. Bear with everyone. The reason was the old engine leaked so much oil that I used to leave the washing button when it parked to catch it. Okay, that's technical language that I don't understand. Sorry, Russell. Guitars are made of wood, so I guess I can't. I'm living in the northwest of England and I have a day off work tomorrow. I thought I'd drop by. Good for you, Santa. Northwest of England, Liverpool, Cumbria. If you've been in one of my live streams before, you'll know how obsessed I am with geography. Northwest of England. Southport? Blackpool? Widnes? Warrington? I want to know. I'm autistic. I love facts. Carrey Noel was released when I was at uni. Blimey. Yeah. Served all the positive reviews that we can't get through. Blue bucket of cold without crying. What was the song that? Oh, what was it? Oh, the song that made me cry when I listened to the 10th anniversary version. What was it? It wasn't that particular song. It was because he's released 7. I don't know why I'm doing this. As if you can't hear me. 7 bonus tracks, and the song that made me cry when I listened to the 10th anniversary version was "The Only Thing." I was like, I'm cool with this. I'm writing this album review. It's all good. It's going well. It's going well. So I'm going to listen to the original version of "The Only Thing" by Sufjan Stevens. And I wept as much as when my cat died, which is a lot of weeping. A lot of weeping, especially when I was just like, yeah, I'll just listen to this track. Like 37 seconds later, I'm like in a waterfall. In a good way, because it's so beautiful. Right, let me catch up. As a baker, my grandfather had lots of practical skills. He must have the whole room in his house finished a model train station. Awesome. Yeah, really interesting you say that, academic, on the phrase. I about 2 hours ago read, because I had a stupid idea for a poem which I abandoned because it wasn't very funny. I read Jules Holland's Wikipedia. If you're in the UK, you'll probably know about Jules Holland. Maybe he's more famous than I think he is. But I read in his Wikipedia that he has a massive train set in his house. And reading the comment there, I'm thinking, is Jules Holland autistic? It's not for me to diagnose someone I don't know, but I don't know. Special interests. Practical skills, but you know, I tried several times to change the flush mechanism in my toilet. And it's still leaking, but into the bowl, so that's okay, I guess. I'm not sure what to say about that. Fair play for trying. Well done. My wife would love me 10 times more if I tried something like that. If I just go, no, get someone in who knows what they're doing. Doing things I can totally relate needs a reason, whatever our brains need doing that to be. Yes, it needs a reason. It's why I struggle in a late capitalist economy when I'm just like, what would I'm like talking about my latest video, Samuel Beckett waiting for Godot. I'm like, just waiting for something to happen. Like, what are we waiting for? What's the purpose? Sorry to get all metaphysical when I should be filling in a spreadsheet. Sorry, Neil, you should be do the thing. You should be populating the spreadsheet with numbers and words. Yeah, but what's the spreadsheet for? What's the purpose? What's the result? How am I advancing the greater cause of humanity by adding digits to this virtual grid? If you can't give me that assurance that what I'm doing is meaningful, then I'm going to struggle to fixate on it for the time that I need to fixate on it in order to fulfill the responsibility you want me to fulfill until that I can put food on the table. Just let me make YouTube videos in my pajamas and watch biscuits crumble onto my lap. I'm causing no harm by doing that. And if you say that that's not productive, then I would say, well, look on YouTube and the amount of people that, yeah, from what I can gather, aren't leaving their house. They're just making YouTube videos, presumably in their pajamas, flaked with crusty biscuits. I'm just watching the money drop into their account, and I'm not bitter about that whatsoever. So yeah, I need a reason to do things. I mean, see, the reason for me chatting nonsense at 12:48 a.m. in the UK to you guys is because I think you understand my randomness from an autistic point of view. So I'm hooked in. I'm here for this because you guys are listening, and obviously because you could go elsewhere. You could watch Yo Samdy Sam or Autistic AF or Autism from the Inside or not do any of those things or watch any of those channels. You're here and I appreciate it. So there's a reason for me being here. Um, but so often I'm like, what's the point? And that, yeah, I've kind of made that point already several times in this second installment of the live stream. It's like when I really, really don't get the point, I really, really, really struggle. So it's actually helpful to have this discussion. Thank you, Jennifer, again. Dwell on that moment too much. Yes, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes longer, you might not be feeling that there's purpose, but there will be a time shortly afterwards where you will feel that there's a purpose. I've got a purpose. So I have to keep telling myself this. And that's absolutely related to me being autistic, I think. On that note, starvation usually does it for me, though not always. Thank you, Musi. Sorry, I've forgotten the context. I lost the context. Leyland. You're in Leyland. Leyland Daff. Preston. Sorry, Sanford. There we are. I think I've told you, everyone, the story, but me bumped into a chap uh, from Preston and assuming that he was from Yorkshire. He was not impressed. So I bumped into him in at a park run, which I think is a global thing now. So I had finished the park run where I am. I was walking back or jogging back home, and I got chatting to this guy. He was a marshal. He was a volunteer, and I heard his accent. I was like, Are you? I think you might be from Yorkshire. You went, Lancashire. Sorry, mate. And then 2 or 3 years later, I bumped into him again, but I'd forgotten that episode, and he was talking. I was like, are you from Yorkshire?" And he did the same thing, Lancashire. So I had less of an excuse to get it wrong on the second time. He was not impressed. Never confuse a Lancastrian with a Yorkshireman. Trying to think of an equivalent in the US or Australia or wherever. Trying to, would it be like in Canada, be confusing someone from Quebec with someone from British Columbia? Would it be the same thing? Well, that's what I did. So, twice. Oh, you know, Jules, cool. God, my mind. Cars often used to leak oil in the old days. People used to leave a black patch. Yes, they did. My leak was so bad it filled the bowl to about 1/4 of an inch deep during an 8-hour day of work. That's quite a lot, isn't it? 1/4 of an inch. Just going to make a rude joke then, but I'm going to move on from that. I didn't leave a massive oil patch. No, fair enough. Going back to demand avoidance, for me, I break my task down to the most simple steps, and it's easier. It doesn't really matter for most things they're doing done in order, but then you make a break. Yes, and I keep telling myself this, and I think this is a battle, or not a battle. You know, that's a wrong war synonym to use, but trying to convince my daughter to do what you've just suggested, bit by bit, and then we'll get there. But you know, I'm trying to live my own advice. So let me catch up. My back is absolutely killing me, and I'm aware of the time, so I'm going to leave you shortly. Um, I really do need to get a better YouTube setup. I keep saying that, and I never do anything about it. Um, sounds like I'm one of the few people from Leyland who speaks with a southern accent. I was born in Bolton. um, so Sanford, if you're still about, I can recommend a film that I believe has not been released yet. Oh yes, Peter Street, that's his name. So there's a film director called Brett. I've forgotten his surname, hence why I can't share it now. Brett is a director of a 45, 50-minute film, which is essentially an interview with a guy called Peter Street from Bolton and an autistic guy. And I had a sneaky preview of this documentary, this film, and it's amazing. So, and it's actually aside from him, because the autism aspect of his life, that you know, obviously he's always been autistic. We're all born autistic, but he doesn't mention it until 35, 40 minutes into the documentary, and it's just yet another fascinating aspect to his life. But yeah, he's from Bolton, Peter Street, autistic writer in his 70s, and the director's called Brett. Hopefully that's enough info for you to seek it out later if you want. Depends on the person, but accent seemed like a silly thing to get hung up on. That's a Europe UK thing. Yeah, I think talking of accents, I mean, I can pick up on a Bolton accent, and the Bolton accent is very different from a Warrington accent. And yet, if you're in the US or Canada or anywhere else in the world, you go Bolton, Warrington, they're, what, 10 miles apart? And the accents are wildly different. And one of the things I find fascinating about the UK is like, so I live in the Midlands, and I'm not from the Midlands. I'm from Hampshire in the south, and yet the difference in accent between Birmingham and I don't know Birmingham and Hereford, it's just massively different. Um, but in America, I've been to America once. It's like, the accents. Well, possibly because I'm a foreigner, so I don't really understand the variations. But yeah, I think the distinctions in accents are more, not severe is the wrong word, but more marked in such a short distance in the UK. But happy to be corrected. Maybe in Belgium there are like 89 million accents. I don't know. If ever you meet them and tell them, say, "Are you from Yorkshire?" And if he says, I know, I was mortified the first time, and then to do the same thing the second time, I was like, "I'm so sorry, man." He was so angry. That's when it drives for autistic. No, it has to annoy you enough to do something about it. You'll get there. Change your recording setting eventually. Thank you. Again, I need this is good. This is really good because you know, although I love to be autonomous and be in control of my own environment and like dictate what I do in my life, sometimes I need a kick up the ass, like we all do, I think. I just need someone to say, "Do the thing. Stop messing about. It's in your interest to do the thing." So yeah, being told that it has to annoy me enough to do something about it is good for me to read. So thank you. Pre-internet, the regional accents were more pronounced. Now it's been homogenized a lot. I think there's a lot of truth in that, Moosey. Yeah. Um, yeah, fascinating. That's a degree. That's a dissertation. Um, yeah, it's really good. I mean, in the UK, it's difficult to tell because accents, of course, they evolve over years, decades. So it's difficult to assess the impact of the internet on accents in the UK because the internet, for argument's sake, 25 years old, but accents evolve, over 50 years, centuries. So maybe the Bolton accent will be merged into the Manchester accent, and maybe the Manchester accent will be merged into the Liverpool accent, and maybe Sanford will crucify me on this chat and say, "What are you talking about, you Southerner?" I moved around a lot as a kid and had an accent. Everyone taught me how to. Yeah. I just realised how dreadful I look in the camera. I remember vividly moving down from Aberdeen in Scotland in 1989 and moved down to Hampshire in southern England, and no one understood me. It's a bit like being an autistic person. No one understood me. Even the teacher was just like, sorry, squeeze me in. So, so, so are those words? It's like, and I remember as a 7-year-old, like, I am using what I consider to be parcels of meaning to convey, you know, a level of interest in what you're telling me as a teacher. Um, why don't you understand me? And she's just like, who is this curious specimen? It's like, I'm just a child who's moved from Scotland, but the accent was so deep, apparently, that it took my teacher and my classmates days or weeks to understand what I was saying. But maybe in 50 years' time, that won't be an issue for any child that moves from one end of the UK to another. Be like, John O'Groats to Penzance, be like, yeah, we all have the same accent. Although, thinking out loud, I don't think that's going to happen. I think regional identity. Um, so that's one of the drives for just it has only. Sorry, I've read that already. Moved around lots of kids and had an accent where I went. Yeah, I just love accents. Just love it. I've heard younger people talking sounding like TikTok influencers sounds weird. It does. Not that I hang around with TikTok influencers, but I do find the idea that people would glean their accents from the internet, like laptops, watching DVDs. People don't watch DVDs. That's how old I am. People don't watch DVDs anymore, do they? Um, so yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, it's like people. I remember in the 90s, 2000s, people from France, from mainland Europe, coming to the UK, and they'd speak English with an American accent. And this is like before the internet was a big thing. So why are you speaking in an American accent? Because they've been watching films. So it does make a lot of sense that people would watch TikTok and speak in a homogenized accent. Um, and it could be British English taught in my German school, but Americans think I have a southern accent because of my autistic slow expressive speech. Well, yeah, and I'm very conscious of, like I'm doing it now. I'm very conscious of how slow that I speak and time it takes to process my thoughts because I want to ensure that I'm accurate and sensitive and empathetic so that we can establish a connection. And yet I'm autistic and I have no empathy whatsoever. So the neurotypicals say. Discuss. Mark, I grew up in Kent. I mean, Reggie, why is it? Oh, Reggie, Reggie, Reggie Cray? I don't know. Why is that? The Crays are from London. Why did I say that? Went to university where people from all over the US went, and it was so fascinating to see different. Yeah, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, I'm trying to think when I went to university, with all the accents that I had. I mean, I was considered, well, I was common as filth. Um, but yeah, I had this, and I have still the same sort of neutral Queen's English accent. My mate Alex from university said I have a posh Southern accent. I'm like, still amuses me, like a posh Southern accent. As I've just said 5 minutes ago, I moved down to England from Scotland. I had a very broad Aberdonian accent, albeit when I was a child. So the idea that I've got this posh English accent, given that I grew up in a working class household, and that's not to wear a badge, that's just a fact. Um, yeah, it just amuses me. Right? And then when I went to Cambridge, it's like that's those people are posh. Yeah, they've not got holes in their trousers. They're posh. They've actually got royal relations. I just like to pronounce my words in a clear fashion because I'm autistic and I want clarity, not because I'm posh. But I didn't know I was autistic at the time. So, um, The Michigan accent is a lot like broadcast into a bit more nasal. And we say yes for yes. Yeah. Look at the Reggie Craig, but I think it's because they thought it sounded like a posh kid. Yeah. It's weird, like Midlands, London thing. Well, weird is because different regions, isn't it? If you move from the Midlands to London, people go, you got a Brummie accent. I know. The three things possible to achieve: make someone to love you, change the weather, and pronounce Worcestershire. There's plenty of footage of American people trying to pronounce the name of the county that I live in, Worcestershire. Yeah, but when you look at it phonetically, it is Worcestershire. So I've got a lot of sympathy for people in the in America or elsewhere who cannot pronounce Worcestershire. Because why would you go, oh yeah, Worcestershire? Well, you wouldn't, would you? You'd go Worcestershire. So it's easy for me to mock, but I'm not mocking. Sorry, it's completely understandable. I'm autistic, looking at the literal, the phonetic sounds. That's Worcestershire. Yeah, like the sauce. Yeah. And if you've heard Worcestershire sauce pronounced, then you might remember. Oh yeah, Worcestershire sauce. But yeah, I have a lot of sympathy. So guys, I think I've caught up in the chat, and it's 8 minutes past one, and oh, I've got way too much wine there. This is a good thing because it means that I've had so much fun doing 2 installments of a live stream. But I have a team meeting in 8.5 hours, and yeah, I need to do my thing. I need to mask and be who I'm meant to be to put food on the table. You know what I'm talking about. So let me just make sure I'm at the end. Yep. So thank you guys. I'm sorry about the aborted first installment. I had no control. It was 11:30-ish p.m. in the UK. I can only imagine people spilled out from the pubs and clogged up the internet messages. I don't know. Or maybe I've just got a ropey internet connection. I have no idea. So Mark, stay in touch, mate. We'll be in touch very soon. Jennifer from California. I'm baffled that anyone from, well, anywhere would listen to me talk nonsense, but I just absolutely love finding out that people from other countries are tuning in. Tuning in, oh god, that's cheesy. You know what I mean. Academic omnifarious, keep educating me, and just learn a lot from you. So all of you. I'm being horribly cheesy, as in my habit towards the end of these things. Never apologize for info dumping about anything, even if it's about cars, which I know nothing about. I'm still there. Because if it's written down, I can go, yeah, I'll make a note of that. Have you tried a cup of tea with a spoonful of brown sauce? You know you want to. I'm not going to do that, Mark. I'm going to finish this glass, sweep this annoying bit of hair away, and go to bed. But yeah, nice tip. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'm going to not do the okay guys thing because that's really cheesy as well. I never know how to end these things. I'm going to do 3, 2, 1, like I do, believe it or not, with my car obsessed dad. I go, right, dad, 3, 2, 1, bye. I'm going to do that with you because I do this every time I do the live stream. And I'll hopefully schedule the next one because you're all waiting like, when's your next one? It's so important to me. I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure that one out later. Thank you so much, everyone. Autistic not alien at gmail.com if you ever want to have a chat online, email wise. Comments under the videos. Just need to offload about anything. Yeah, if you need any help with anything, you know where I am. I'll try my best, albeit from a very remote distance. And thank you so much for making this worthwhile. I really, really appreciate it. Russell Canyon, Russell Canyon schedule. Yes, I will try to. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Get some rest or go to work if you're in California. I don't know what the time difference is. Bye.